Hey guys, y'all have y'all girl Ratio Pins tonight. Coach Pins, the strategy coach, the biblical life coach. You have your girl Jen is not here today. Dr. Jennifer, she is on a boat, y'all, and she said her Wi-Fi is trash. Okay, so she will not be on tonight. Okay, hey free, but we're going to be talking about testimonials and why is telling your testimony so important. And y'all, we're gonna talk about a recent I literally have a testimony to tell y'all about. I just got just left the emergency room, like literally out the hospital, like less than 24 hours. Okay. And so when I tell you me and Jen, we do this thing from real life. We do our testimonies. We tell y'all what's going on in our lives because we live this thing for real. We real life. Everything that we talk about in confidence, we live that thing out. Okay. And so the reasons why testimonies is so important because there is literally somebody that is going through the same storm that you're going through, and they're like, I can't do it. I cannot go through this divorce with 4 kids. How am I going to make it through this divorce with these 4 kids? Right? They can't figure it out. There's somebody right now that's in a horrible marriage. Their husband or wife have been like, I don't want to be here no more. Like, this not what I want to do. And you're like, what am I going to do? How am I going to make it with 4 kids? How am I going to do this with one income? Baby girl, I left my husband with 4 children. Uno, dos, tres, cuanto. I don't know if that's the right one, but I know tres is right. I left my husband with 4 kids and I made it. All my kids are grown. 2 is welders. What's the other one? One is a boss at his job. My other one, y'all know my Zay baby, I follow him all the time. That's my sickle cell warrior. And so I did it. I did it. And not only did I do it, my kids, not to brag, I have great kids. Okay. And so I say that to say, don't be afraid to step out. Don't be afraid to be a single mom if you have to. Now, I'm not condoning single momness. I'm not condoning single momness. Let me start over. Okay. I think that if you can have a 2-parent home, I think all children deserve a 2-parent home. I think that our children deserve a 2-parent home. Like, I think we should be more strategic as adults and be like, you know what? I'm not even going to have no kids until I look into, can we even co-parent? Can we even live together? Can we get married? Are we going to be good mates to have these good babies? Right? Why? Because I want y'all to think of it from an unselfish way. For those of you who didn't grow up in a 2-parent home, how did you feel not having both your parents in the same home? Because I'm gonna talk about for me. When my mom and my dad separated, I felt abandoned. I was like, where he went? Where my daddy went? He was here every day, now he gone. Right? And so I just wanted, just because I have a testimony that I survived, because I made it with 4 children by myself, because all my children are successful children, because they thriving, we're thriving. I'm not condoning. I'm not saying everybody should be single with 4 kids. That's not what I'm saying. I'm telling you that if you are in a bad relationship and you need to get out, baby, you can. Baby, you can do it. And I feel like testimonies is so important. Sometimes we be so ashamed to tell our testimonies because we don't want nobody to look at us. I don't care how you look at me. You're looking at me, you're posting stuff about me, you talking about me, don't make me less than. How you feel about me, don't make me feel any less about myself. If you can look behind me, my wall says, I am wonderfully made. I am blessed and highly favored. I am worthy. I am valuable. I am Ratio Pins. It is so, that's a whole nother topic. So I'm not even going to jump on that topic right now. And I'm going to slow down too, because y'all know I talk so fast. But it is so important to know your self-worth, right? And so today we're talking about testimonials and why it's so important to tell your testimony. And so I am gonna get to what happened to me this week because that's so important, especially for those who follow me. It's like, what happened, girl? I got you. I'm gonna tell you. But I don't want to just talk about my health issue that I had this week. I want to make sure I hit every person that watched me so that they know that all the testimonies that we talk about, that this show is for them too. And so one of the pastors who I follow, he talked about that he fought why the word just slipped out my mind, pornography, right? And so I love that he talks about that. I never fought pornography, but I love that he freely talks about it because there are other people who fight pornography, and they're probably like, I can't stop doing it. I just be looking through the books. I be watching the videos. This is what I do, right? But he's a whole pastor. And so he's letting you know, yes, I had this monkey on my back. Yes, this is something that I used to do all the time, but I overcame it. And so it's so important for you to know that somebody has already been through what you've been through, right? So you can feel like, you know what, if they can do it, I can do it too. If she went through that, I can do it too. And it's so important because a lot of times, and let's just be honest, I have epilepsy. That's why that's on my wall, because I'm not going to, anybody who have epilepsy is going to understand the assignment. When you have epilepsy, that's what we do. I can't talk for everybody with epilepsy, but like my brain goes to spaghettis after an episode, and I be right, or I forget the words. Oh, that's even worse. I be looking at the sign. I know what the sign says, and I be like, my husband be like, "You talking about McDonald's?" I be like, "Yes." I be like, "That right there. You talking about the scissors?" "Yes, that right there." It's so annoying to me, right? But guess what? When that happens to me, it makes me feel all type of ways, right? But guess what? I am worthy. I am confident. I am valuable. I am magical. I am wonderfully made. That's why I have a wall. So the days when I wake up loopy, the days when I wake up and I know I just had a seizure, I can remind myself I am not my situation. I am not what I had just went through. I am still wonderfully made. I am still amazing. I am still all the things that God created me to be, even though I'm going through something. And that's so important. That's why I tell y'all it's so important to go ahead and have everything in front of you before you go through the storm, right? And so I just wanted to hit that point and make sure. Let me see what else I wanted to hit before I talk about my recent stuff. Um, we always talk about in the Bible about the woman with the issue of blood. We talk about the suffering of 12 years, how they got healed in Mark. We talk about the blind man. We talk about how God delivered the Samaritan woman. And there's so many stories that's in the Bible, but there's so many people that's in real life who real life experience miracles, who real life like to in 2026 experience miracles. Guys, this is such a true story. So y'all know we just got through talking about what's the last episode or the episode before last? The episode before last, we talked about trauma, um, trauma anxiety, right? And I'm going to build this up for you because I want you to know that everything that you're going through today is because God had already prepared you for it weeks back. And I'm going to pause for a second because I want to give you examples so you know exactly what I mean when I say that. Have you ever been in a friend group and they're like, you know what, girl, we should start saving money, right? And you're like, and then 4 months later, 6 months later, something traumatic happened. You're like, dang, I should have been saving money, right? Because guess what? Like, if those are my believers, we already know that something, God already knew something was going to happen. So he already whispered to your friends, saving money, because you didn't hear when he told it to you. So he told it to the people in your circle, but you just didn't listen, right? Every single thing that's going to happen to us, everything that we're going to encounter, God already give us pre-warning. He already give us every single thing that we need to be covered. Before the rain comes, he's going to tell you pick up that umbrella. Before the rain comes, it's going to get them boots on, right? And so it's up to us to get the things and do the things so we can be prepared. What? For the things, right? And so that's so good. And so for me, for those y'all who know me, y'all, my son coded in 2024. And if y'all have never had a child code, baby, that's something I would never wish on nobody. Okay. And so recently this year, not even 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I was in the hospital with my son. and the little code sign came across. Okay. And mind you, that's the thing about anxiety. You don't even know anxiety. Anybody who ever had anxiety before, you don't even know what triggers it. You don't even know what happens. You don't even know. You just be like, okay, why am I having an anxiety attack? Right. And so I'm in the hospital and tears is like literally, I'm not going to tell the whole story because some of y'all going to watch this game be like, I heard this story before. Right. And tears was coming down my eyes. And I'm like, why am I crying? What is going on? Right. Kind of find out it's called trauma trigger. It's called trauma anxiety, which means that your body has already experienced this trauma before. So it's already reacting to the trauma that it already experienced. So because my son coded in the hospital, my body was already reacting to the trauma. I already knew what the alarms were. I already knew what they feet running was going for. I already knew what was going on and my body was reacting to the trauma, right? And so y'all already know how y'all girl do. Y'all know I don't play when it comes to my body. It don't play when it comes to my kids. It don't play anything that I learned. I'm going to do what I'm going to teach it to y'all. So I went and I did what? I wrote 5 things to do when you have a trauma anxiety attack, right? I told y'all, I gave y'all 5 affirmations, right? So guess what happened? Y'all already knew I was going to need that again. That's why it came to me, right? So for those who follow me, two years ago, right before the weekend of Mother's Day, I had a personal issue. And I waited 2 weeks and I went to the ER and it was like, hey, we got to give you emergency blood transfusion. We got to do emergency surgery. I'm like, okay. And that happened, that passed. I got past that, right? Now, mind you, I want y'all to follow. I'm going to go slow because I want to make sure that y'all understand it. Okay. So y'all ready? Okay. So I just had a trauma anxiety because I had just experienced trauma, what I had already experienced before, right? Listening to the sirens go off about somebody else coding in the room before triggered me to have a trauma anxiety, right? And so what I did was because I just experienced it, I wrote down things and tools to do if I ever had another one. Okay, y'all follow me? I already had surgery for a certain procedure before, and I already knew what led up to that, right? So the day before, we have Bible book club. Throwing in the plug, y'all. We have Bible book club every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. I think we're on 55 and 60, 56 and 60. That's the chapters we're on, right? That we're reading Genesis. Okay. Unstable connection. I don't know if y'all can hear me. I think it's gonna go off. And so keep following. So right before Bible study, no, it was after before Bible. So right before Bible study, I heard the Holy Spirit. I heard the Holy Spirit say, trust. I want to make sure I say what I heard. I heard the same God that was then is the same God now when it comes to healing. I was like, okay, this must be a word for Bible study. Bet. Noted, right? So Bible study come and I never really feel the spirit to say it. So don't say it in Bible study. So we got Bible study and it goes on. But y'all know my son have sickle cell disease. So I told my son, say, hey, I heard the Holy Spirit tell me that he's the same God today as the same God yesterday when it comes to healing. My son was like, okay, right? Well, later on that evening, the same reason why I went to the hospital, right, is the same thing started happening to me. So for the last 4 days, I've been experiencing all these symptoms. And so everybody who know me, on Monday, I do Motivational Monday, and we talk about different topics, right? And so this Monday, I was like, I just need to go to the hospital. I don't want to go to the hospital, but I need to go to the hospital because I know that I'm going to have to probably have blood transfusion. I'm probably going to need surgery. Why? Because I've been through this before. And so, but I want y'all to remember, I had already experienced this before. So I already had my affirmations that I was speaking over my life. I already had the scriptures that I was speaking over my life. And I want y'all to listen so carefully to this. There is nothing that you're experiencing that you're not prepared for. And I want to say it again with my whole chest. There is nothing that you about to experience or that you going through that you're not already prepared for. You already prepared for every single thing that's getting thrown your way. You already prepared for it. Like, it doesn't matter what it is, you already prepared for it. So when I realized that I was gonna have to go to the hospital and I was probably gonna have the same surgery, and I was probably gonna have to get a blood transfusion, the first thing that came to me was, I ain't gonna lie, I was kind of mad about it, frustration, and I cried the ugly cry because the surgery was painful, the recovery was painful, and I remembered the recovery and I remember how painful it was. So I did the ugly cry. Right. And now, as I began to cry to God, I was like, God, and then I remembered what I had heard a couple of weeks ago. I'm the same God then that I am now, who saves, who heals. That word was for me. That was my word. That word came back to my remembrance. And I said, you know what, God, you are the same God that heals. You are the same God that was there when I had my first surgery. You are the same God that was there when I had my divorce. You are the same God that when my husband was beating me and blacking my eye and punching me and sending me to the hospital. You're the same God that saved me. You're the same God when people prosecute me. You're the same God when people lie on me. You're the same God when my bank account is low and my bills still get paid. You're the same God. You're the same God. You're the same God. And I had to keep saying that to myself. And as I said it to myself, I said, but not only are you the same God who saves, and you're the same God who covers, and you're the same God who protects, you're the same God who heals. And I believe that you can be a healer. And I believe that if it's your way that you will heal me. And I believe if it's your way that I will stop bleeding. And if it's your way that it will stop. And if it's your way, I don't need a blood transfusion. If it's your way, I don't need surgery. But it's only if it's your way, God, and not my way. And when I got through praying that prayer, it didn't matter to me if he healed me or not. It didn't matter to me if the blood stopped. It didn't matter to me if I needed the surgery. Sorry, guys. None of that mattered to me because I had realized at that moment when I got through worshiping and praying, that none of that had mattered. The only thing that mattered is that I knew that he was the same God who had guided me through every low point in my life. He was the same God when a grown man was molesting me. He was the same God. And when you realize that the same God is going to protect you every single time, when you realize the same God is going to be the coverer, when you realize it's the same God, I'm done. That's all. That's mic drop, as y'all young people say. As Barack, I guess any young said, right? I'm done. Like, so when I tell you, so when I went to the emergency room, and they did my vitals and they did all of my stuff. Y'all, I packed my clothes, y'all, for 3 days. Because I already knew. I've been through this route. I already knew I was about to get hospitalized. I already knew I was about to get a blood transfusion. I already knew I was about to have this surgery. I told my kids about to have surgery. I told everybody about to have surgery. Like, I already knew what was about to happen because I've been this route before. So I get there and the doctor come in and he was like, you know what? I'm going to send you home. I'm gonna go ahead and send you home. I'm gonna send you home. I'm gonna see you in the morning. And when I see you in the morning, we're gonna discuss what we think we should do. That's only if you have to spend the night here, unless you just want to. Do you want to go home? I'm like, I do want to go home. I do want to go home. He said, go home. Your vitals are great. You didn't lose that much blood. You're fine. Go home. And we'll talk about it tomorrow. And I went to my appointment today and he was like, we're not even gonna talk surgery right now. We're gonna talk prevention to maybe not having a surgery. I don't know about y'all. 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 But he's able. He's the God who can. He's the God who will. All you have to do is truly believe for yourself and truly trust for yourself. And so many times we'd be like, oh, they got saved because this person prayed for me. Everybody's blessing is going to be different. Everybody's testimonial is going to be different. But I'm going to tell you what, when you hear the Holy Spirit talk to you, you do what he said. And the words that I heard was the same healer. So I knew then I would be healed when I realized it was for me. And just like that, the blood stopped. And just like that, I got sent home. And I was like, "Do you see?" He said, "I can see what I see what's going on." He said, "But I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened." I said, "God happened." That's what happened. And guys, I had to tell y'all my testimony because some people don't believe that in 2026 that God is still real. People don't believe in 2026 that God is still a healer, that God is still the miracle worker. But what are you doing in your quiet place to receive the miracles? I can't. I am not the best prayer. I'm not the saintest of the saints. Cause catch me on a bad day, you just might get some words that ain't so Christian. Like you might get the eyes rolled sometime. You might get the finger sometime. I don't think I really do think I do the middle finger. I don't think I've been that mad in a very long time. But anyway, my whole point that I'm making is that he just wants your presence. He just wants your time. He just wants your obedience. And he wants you to trust and believe that he is who he say he is. Let me make sure I didn't skip anything. Uh, we are overcome by our testimonies. That's in Revelation 12 and 11. Stop being embarrassed about what God has brought you through. Your testimony. And I want to say, if you have a testimony you want to come on the show, I will stop whatever I have planned to put your testimony on the show. If I gotta make this whole year, the rest of this year testimonies, I will do that. Why? Because there is so many people who need to know that what they're going through, somebody else has been through it, have been through it. Not somebody who don't look like them, who not in their income bracket, like a regular degular been through it. Somebody like everybody, I'm just a nobody trying to tell everybody about somebody who can save everybody. So if you have a testimony and you want to be on the show, come on. Get on the show and tell your testimony. Stop being embarrassed about what God brought you through. Your testimony is not to glorify the pain, but to glorify God. That is so good. Some people will never read the Bible, but they will read your life. Some people won't stop and read the Bible. They won't even stop and go to church. But you know what they will do? They will listen to little old you who at the strip club who say that you heard the whisper of the Lord. They will listen to you who work a 9 to 5, who can testify that your bank account was on zero, on in God made a way. Whew. Well, how much minutes? 6 minutes. Because I'm gonna stop at 8:30. Guys, we talk about testimonies all the time. When I first left my first husband, with 4 children, the house that we're in right now, that I'm in right now, with one income, I purchased this house. God is able. When I tell you he is able, he has been doing miracle signs. And one score was a 505, but I got a brand new car, right? Oh, my credit score was a 400 and I got a new house. I mean, where y'all at? Y'all need to be y'all need to be being a testimony. Y'all need to share your testimony so that somebody can know how you fasted for 30 days and God came through. How you fasted for 30 days and you found your Boaz. Because so many times we ask God for something in private and he give it to us in private and he wants you to go talk about it in public. Because talking about what you've been blessed with in public can help somebody else. Because there's people right now who got PhDs, who been to school, and you don't have none of that. You barely got a GED and you making more money than them. Because God is able. Right? There is so many situations and there are so many people that's watching that you can literally bless somebody with your testimony. So if you have a testimony, please feel free to reach out so you can be on the show and share your testimony so you can be a blessing to somebody. So somebody can know that you've been shot 6 times and you went to you. God saved me. If you saved me, I changed my life. And he saved you. Like there's literally so many people who I run into that has stories that's amazing, amazing stories that y'all need to hear because they stories could save you. And I can't tell your story to save them. You got to tell your story. So if you have a story, get on the show. But y'all have a good night. And that's anything else. I think that was all I had for y'all. Oh, so I do have a question. Y'all know I always gotta leave y'all with a question. What did God bring you through? That's the first question. What did that season teach you? And how did you keep going? Why are those so important? Because when you write down what you've been through, when you start complaining about stuff, you can go back and look at it and be like, you know what? I'm complaining about I'm complaining about this bank account when baby I had less before. Right? I'm complaining about this man, baby, when I had a worse man before. Right? I'm complaining about this job when I had a worse job before. Sometimes I think we be so ungrateful because we forget where we came from. And that's why it's so important. That's why I believe in journaling. That's why I believe in writing, because we forget how good our husbands are when we're mad. Write down the good things that you love about your spouse. So when you're mad at your spouse, you can remember the good things. Write down where you wanted to become. So when you get there, this is so good. Sometimes when we get to our peak, and this is I don't know why I was getting so tongue tied. Some of us, like people like me, who just be sitting at home relaxing, living my soft girl era, it's so easy for us to be sitting here going like, to be ungrateful. Baby, I ain't never ungrateful. You know why I'm not ungrateful? Because baby, I have paperwork that can tell you where I used to be. I can go back and look at the things that I didn't have. I can go back and y'all got to write that down, because that is the reason why y'all be forgetting. I'm never rude to people who got less than me. I ain't rude to people who got more than me either. Hey, friend. Hey, friend. Right? But y'all got to write it down. That's why it's so important. How did you keep going? This is so good. How did you keep going when you only had 5 cents in your bank account? Even if you won't be a testimony for somebody else, how did you keep going? Because there may be a time again when you only got 5 cents in your bank account. Oh, this is a good too. There might be a time again when your cards or your assets are frozen, when you're unable to get to the coins. Not that you don't have it, you just can't get to it. You don't have access to it. How did you survive? Right? That's so important. The question is, how did you keep going? How did you keep going through the heartbreak? Baby, let me tell you something. Once you go through a divorce, sorry, husband, you hear this. Once you go through a divorce, baby, you can't break my heart again. My heart been broke already. Like, how did you survive that heartbreak? Right? This is not a slug, but women and men. Come on, who had a first love in high school? I'm just asking. When they broke your heart in high school, y'all know they broke your heart for real, for real. You was like the big slob out your mouth. They broke your heart, right? Baby, how you survived that? You survived it, right? We can't be sitting up here in our 20s. Let me tell you what they did. 30s, 50. Boy, bye. I'm so sorry that was not your cup of tea. I'm sorry that you wanted a voice, bro. I'm sorry, right? How did you survive that heartbreak, right? How many people been fired from a job? That first fire hurt your feelings. That first let me tell you, you don't have no job no more. We know no longer need your services no more. Baby, that probably broke your little heart. But the second fire, baby, you can't find me again like that. Okay, let me go find me another job, because this must not have been for me. And the reason I'm stressing this is because sometimes we keep allowing the same hurt to hurt us like it's the first time we've been hurt. Baby, put your chest up. Put your chest up. If you've been broke before, you've been broke before. Okay. Somebody that broke up with you, even broke up before. Okay, move on. Write down how you got over it, and it's gonna help you get past. I love y'all so much. Y'all have an amazing night on purpose, and I will see y'all next Tuesday. It's probably gonna be me and Dr. Jen next Tuesday. And I will see y'all next Tuesday. Any questions or concerns, y'all can add them. Always retag me, and I will always answer them for you. Tomorrow is the Bible Book Club at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. If y'all want to join us, that's every Wednesday. And that's all I got for you tonight.
Thank you for joining us today, the Confidence Women Podcast. Remember, your confidence is rooted in God, not in circumstances. Keep shining, keep believing, and keep walking in your confidence. Until next time, stay blessed and stay bold. And remember, share the podcast. Sharing is